Good evening, everyone. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime. On September 28th, 1983, Red Springs, North Carolina, an 11-year-old girl named Sabrina Buie is found raped and murdered in a soybean field. Her own panties shoved down her throat with a stick until she suffocated. Two half brothers, Henry McCollum, 19, and Leon Brown, 15, both intellectually disabled, are coerced into signing confessions they can't even read. They spend the next 31 years in prison. Henry on death row, longer than any exonerated inmate in the U.S. history. And the real killer lived 1 mile away and killed again while they rotted in cages. This is Henry McCollum and Leon Brown case. The most infuriating, well, I shouldn't say the most, one of the most infuriating wrongfully conviction cases I've ever covered. So let's go. Hello, Red Army. If you are new here, subscribe right now because we do not sugarcoat. Today, we're talking about one of the one of the worst miscarriages of justice in American history. Two innocent black teenagers with the minds of children sentenced to die for a crime DNA later proved they did not commit. No mercy, but let's get into this, okay? So, I live in North Carolina, so I understand sometimes justice is pretty much black and white around here. So let's talk about Red Springs, Robeson County. Poor, rural, deeply segregated. Saturday night, and it's September 24th, 1983. 11-year-old Sabrina Buie, who is right here, tells her mom she's going to a neighbor's house. She never comes home. 4 days later, kids cutting through a soybean field find her body naked from the waist down. Hands bound. Her bra and panties crammed so far down her throat with a stick that she asphyxiated. Cigarette butts nearby, fluid on her body. The town is terrified and enraged. A 17-year-old girl named Sheila Berry tells the police she heard Henry McCullum bragging about the murder. That's it. That's the entire lead. No physical evidence, no witnesses, just a rumor. Cops pick up Henry McCullum, 19, mildly intellectually disabled. His IQ is in the low 60s. And his 15-year-old half-brother, Leon Brown, even lower functioning. That is these gentlemen right here. Neither can read or write, and they can't even do it beyond the first grade level. 5 hours, no lawyers, no parent, no food, no break. Detectives scream, "We know you did it. Sign this and you can go home." Henry signs a confession he can't read. It says he and Leon raped Sabrina with 3 other boys. Leon, crying hysterically, signs one too. Says Henry and 4 others did it. Both confessions are filled with details only the killer would know. Details the cops fed them during the interrogation. Later, Henry says, "They told me if I signed, I could go home and eat cheeseburgers." Leon thought rape meant to rob. That's how innocent these boys were. So, later on in 1984, they have separate trials, all white juries. Henry's trial, the confession is the only evidence. Defense lawyer does almost nothing. He's found guilty. He gets a death sentence. Leon's trial, same confession, guilty, death sentence later reduced to life. Both are sent to death row. Henry is 19 years old when they strap him in for execution, multiple times over the decades. He's taken to the death chamber 4 times and brought back because of stays. Now, while Henry and Leon sit on death row, Roscoe Artis, a serial rapist who lived 1 mile from the crime scene, is arrested for raping and murdering an 18-year-old girl 1 month after Sabrina's murder. Same exact MO, strangled, clothes stuffed in the mouth. Artis was already a suspect in Sabrina's case. His name was in the original file. Cops ignored it. He gets life. And the real evidence, cigarette butts and beer can at the scene, never, ever tested. So these men right here spend basically 30 years of hell. And for 31 years, Henry and Leon maintain their innocence. Henry becomes the longest serving death row inmate ever exonerated, and Leon develops severe mental illness in solitary. Their family never stops fighting. 1990s, DNA testing exists, requests denied over and over until 2014. The North Carolina Innocence Inquiry Commission finally tests the evidence. DNA, well, actually, on September 2nd, 2014, DNA from the cigarette butts at the scene matches Roscoe Artis, not Henry or Leon. No DNA from either brother is anywhere. Artis is already in prison for the identical murder of Joanne Brockman. The commission concludes, had this evidence been tested in 1984, McCullum and Brown would never have been convicted. Judge vacates both convictions, and they walk free after 11,333 days in jail. Henry, now 50, says, I always believed one day I'd be free, but I never thought it would take this long. Leon, broken by decades of in solitary, can barely speak. Governor Pat McCrory grants pardons for both men and pardons of innocence in 2015. They receive $750,000 each from the state, the maximum allowed, but money doesn't give you back 31 years. Here's the gut punch. In 1994, Justice Antonin Scalia wrote a dissenting opinion praising North Carolina's death penalty process and used Henry McCullum and as his example as a beyond the shadow of a doubt guilty monster. Scalia, how enviable a quiet death by lethal injection compared to what that little girl suffered. 20 years later, Henry is proven innocent. Justice Scalia never apologized. Now, Roscoe Artis, excuse me, Roscoe Artis never got charged with her case. And he died in prison in 2023. But the DNA match is overwhelming. He would have been on death row instead of Henry and Leon. Henry today lives with PTSD and nightmares, can't be around crowds. Leon, severe schizophrenia, institutionalized for years after release. Their mother Ethel said before she passed, they took my baby's minds. This wasn't a mistake. This was racial terror, coerced confessions, and tunnel vision that let a serial killer walk free, which this overwhelmingly proves that, in my opinion. Henry McCullum and Leon Brown are living proof that the death penalty is applied to the poor, the black, the disabled, and sometimes the innocent. North Carolina has exonerated 12 death row inmates, more than any state that still has the death penalty. Think about that. And final words from Henry. Henry McCullum in 2015. I'm not angry. I forgave them, but I wouldn't want nobody else to go through what I went through. That's grace. After the system tried to murder him for 31 years. And I'll say, it says here that they only got $750,000 from the state. They ended up getting, because they sued on the federal level, they sued the county, they sued multiple people. They ended up with $75 million between the two of them. and it still doesn't give them back the 31 years they lost. But if this case doesn't make you question the death penalty, nothing will. Drop in the comments, should the North Carolina have paid them more than 750,000? I think they should have. And should artists have been charged posthumously, which I think it still should happen. And like if you want me to cover more death row exonerations, subscribe and hit that bell. Next week we're doing another infuriating one. This is Red True Crime. Keep fighting for the innocent. I'm out. Bye.